Catherine, Princess of Wales, did her own wedding makeup on her wedding day, and you can too, but you need to start practicing right now. The next 6 weeks, I'm going to be bringing you 6 bridal looks that I would absolutely wear if I were to have my wedding day again. Today's tutorial is for this makeup look here, and I would absolutely wear this gorgeous wedding makeup if I were to get married again. In this video, I'm going to be giving you all of my inside tips and tricks into how to create this gorgeous makeup look, along with the skin preparation tips that you absolutely need for your wedding day. In this video, you will be able to follow the exact steps that I use to create this gorgeous makeup look. I have product recommendations from a professional makeup artist, and I'm going to be giving you some insights into the ways that I make sure my brides look perfect on their wedding day. Since now's the time that you start laying down all of the foundations for your 2026 wedding, and you start thinking about wedding makeup, I thought I would show you how you can get the perfect bridal makeup look at home. So the things I'm going to be covering today are bridal makeup application, the shades that I think are absolutely gorgeous for bride, and bridal skin prep for your makeup. I'm going to start by preparing my skin. One tip that I always give my brides on their wedding morning is to make sure that they get up and do their regular skincare routine. I'll go in and re-prep the skin when I start doing their makeup. What I don't want is for the skin to be dry by the time I get to it. So I always say for them to get up in the morning, do their regular skincare routine and moisturise like they normally would. And then I'll go in and re-prep the skin, and that helps to give this really gorgeous glowy base we all love as brides. So I'm starting off with the Pixie Glow Tonic, and I'm just exfoliating my skin here. I've had moisturiser on this morning. I'm now just going to remove that. Autumn and my skin's dry, I'm going to apply a little bit of the L'Oreal Revitalift. Now I am only going to apply a small amount of that because I think the key thing with bridal makeup is light buildable layers. Honestly, those light layers that you apply and that you build on are really going to be the longevity for your bridal makeup. Often in the summer when I'm doing wedding makeup, I don't need to do this. So I'll just go straight in with the prime. Absolutely love to use the Bobbi Brown Enriched Face Base for this. It is the perfect moisturiser primer combo to go under makeup. Tip with prep for your bridal makeup is grip, not slip. That's something that's really important that you remember from this video. You want your skin to feel grippy, not slippy. A little bit of the enriched primer on now. Normally I would just go straight in with this product, but my skin is quite dry because it's autumn and I really want to show you guys how to get that gorgeous bridal glow. Unless someone's got particularly dry skin, it's very rare that I would apply 2 moisturisers before I do their bridal makeup. So that is all I would do to prep my skin for bridal. Anything else needs to have been done long before you sit in the chair on your wedding day. So long before you sit down in the mirror, anything else that you need to do, any skin improvements you need to make, all of those need to be done far before the morning of your wedding. I cannot express this enough. I'm just going to go in now and start with eyes. Now this is another tip that I'm going to give you guys for your wedding day makeup. You absolutely need to give your skincare the chance to settle. It needs a chance to soak in and your skin needs a chance to adjust to it. So do not go straight in with your base and apply it the second that you've done your skincare. I like to give my brides at least 15 minutes, if not 30 minutes, to let their skincare soak in. Start with eyes. It gives just a bit more of an opportunity for everything to soak in. So I talk about this concealer a lot and you'll hear me talk about it a lot more. This is the Soft Matte Concealer from NARS, and this really is the perfect way to prep your eyes for eye makeup. That it's matte means that it's not too creamy. It applies really lightweight as well, and you can really sort of move it around. I don't really like eye primers, and I'm always trying to keep as little as possible and build on it rather than applying too much at the beginning and then finding that it moves around. Something that I forgot to mention earlier is if you haven't already got lip salve on when you do your skin prep, then make sure you apply some lip salve and keep your drink handy. This is my really ugly water bottle. Now make sure that throughout your wedding morning and throughout your makeup application, you are keeping hydrated. Now I'm just taking a fluffy brush, some of the Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder from Charlotte Tilbury, just applying that onto the lid to set down the concealer. Really do recommend that you don't skip this step. It'd be very tempting to just go in with eyeshadow. Honestly, bridal makeup is all about building light layers. You're really going to see the benefits of taking a little bit more time to do the extra steps that you wouldn't normally. Products you're undoubtedly going to be sick of me talking about. The Vive Modern Bronzer, Bronzing Jimmo. Honestly, this powder lasts forever. I just like to apply a little bit of this onto my eyelid as a really great transition colour. In the Natural Nudes palette from Too Faced, I am going to start by applying a little bit of the shade Nude. Flat brush. Now it is still a little bit fluffy, which is why it's such a good brush for this. I'm going to start getting up close to the camera for this. Applying that to the outer corner of the eye and just beginning to add a light bit of definition. The bridal makeup tip that I'm going to give you while we're at this stage is to make sure that you do a bit on one lid, a little bit on the next lid, and keep building it up slowly, because what you don't want to do is look at one eye and think, yep, that's perfect, and not be able to replicate it on the other. So any step you do on one eye, do on the next eye, and then go back to that eye again. And I do tend to start with a lighter shade once I've done my transition powder, start mapping out the shape that I want to create. Now I'm using the cool brown shade. I think it's called Cyrus Umber from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. Really, any cool brown tone will work. Master Mattes from Makeup by Mario is a really perfect palette for this. Now, one of my biggest tips for the perfect bridal eye is to keep everything close to the lash line. Do not apply too much in the socket, apply too much. This is the shade Rustic. All of the dark shades close to the lash line will really help to make the eyes pop. We're starting to get this really gorgeous shape that outlines the eye without sort of extending and making the eye too much of a feature. Next up for the eye, I'm taking a classic liner, and this is the Classic Brown from Charlotte Tilbury. You're going to start applying that into the tight line right in where the lashes are. So I'm going to grab my eye and lift. A step you really don't want to miss. This will look absolutely gorgeous in your photos and you'll be so glad you did it. Really help to accentuate the eyes and make the eyes look bigger. You can really start to see the difference between the darkness on this line and on this line. So don't worry too much at this point if the product is starting to print into the waterline as well. We're going to go over later with a nude liner and clean all of that up, so that's not a problem. Next up, I'm taking a fine liner brush and I'm applying that into the darkest shade of my eyeshadow palette. Pin a bit of that product off onto my hand, using that shade to set along the outer corner of the lash line. So that's it for the eye right now for bridal makeup. I'm just going to go and apply some individual lashes and then I will come back on and talk you through the next steps. Apply the individual lashes. I'm going to leave underneath the eye alone for now, go and do the rest of the makeup and then go and fill that bit in at the end, just because I don't want to start moving product around once I've applied it. I'm all about that gorgeous glowy look, so I'm starting off by applying the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter as my base. Now, the moisturiser and the skin prep that we did earlier will have had enough chance to set in now, so we can just start applying that over the top and not worry about creating too much slip and movement by applying this product. You really want to work the product into your skin. Tend to apply some to the centre of the forehead and then sort of blend that out, but I really work it into the skin. I'm really working it into the base the whole time. If you do want a tutorial on how to apply individual lashes, then please do let me know in the comments. I'm trying to keep this video short and to the point, but if it is something that you're interested in, then please do let me know and I'm more than happy to add a tutorial for that for you. Things I get asked for regularly with bridal makeup is how to create that buttery skin. For me, there really is no better product than the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. It's really, really good. Really good. Using the V foundation brush, prepping that product into the brush and really starting to pack the brush up. Really want to work it into the skin. That's how you're going to build the layers and that's how you're going to create the longevity. So don't be afraid to take your time on this step. Really, really blend the product in and be really intentional with your application. Really like to use sort of this tapping and pressing motion, working the product into the skin rather than swiping it over the face. I feel like you really do help to get that really gorgeous base. You can already start to see it starting to come through and that gorgeous glow starting to develop. The Dior Backstage is technically a more matte foundation. I really do find though, using this method of application, you really do get that gorgeous, sheer, glowy still. This is how I create that gorgeous buttery skin. Hello. So one of the things that makes bridal makeup much more difficult is the fact that you're not just trying to get makeup good for camera or good for real life, you need the makeup to do both. You still want to accentuate the face so that the makeup shows on camera, but you also want it to look beautiful in person. So it really is worth just taking the time, really making sure that product is really well blended and really well placed. Next up, I'm applying a bit more of the foundation onto my hand. I'm also taking some cream contour. And really I want to apply sort of an equal amount of that, so it's about 50-50. I've probably put a little bit too much foundation on there, really. And then I'm taking the same brush that I used for foundation, and I'm just starting to mix some of that product into my hand and mix the two shades together. So we're not contouring, we are bronzing. I'm going to start applying that just slightly below the cheekbone, around the hairline. Don't be afraid to work the product into the hairline as well. Really working it into the hairline really helps to make sure the look stays looking natural. I want to have a contrasting difference between the colour of your scalp and the colour on your forehead. If you feel like you've got too much product on your brush to blend it, take a clean brush. I'm using the brush that I used earlier to apply Flawless Filter. I'm just helping to smooth that out. You really don't want to move the product around too much. But mixing your contour with your foundation, A, help again with the layers and help with the longevity, but B, it really helps to give that seamless finish. The products have then got the same base. I about you, but when I think of bridal, I think of that gorgeous pink blush. These are my two most popular, most used shades last bridal season. This is the shade Scene from Hourglass, and Paradise Pink Glow from Charlotte Tilbury. I use both of these shades so much during bridal season, and I know I will continue to use them so much next year. Today I'm going to be using that shade as the main shade for blush. And you'll see what I mean by main shade in a minute, because I very, very, very rarely just use one shade of blush. For applying your blush, you really want to work the product into your brush again. Talk about this all the time, I know, but it really is so important to prime your brush, that you're not just applying too much product onto the face right away. I really like to use a flat, dense brush, so a brush that has a little bit of fluffiness to it, but is dense enough that you can really get precise application. I'm applying that just above the cheekbone, but you don't want to take it too high. It doesn't need to come into the temples. Now for angling the face and shaping the face beautifully, you really don't want to take your blush any higher than I'd say the top of where your lash line comes. If you take it too high onto the temples, you're just changing the shape of your face, and you want to give that lifted effect, especially in your wedding photos. It's so buttery and so gorgeous, this blush. So if that's enough blush for you, you can leave it there, but I'm going to take the Paradise Pink Glow shade now from Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm going to apply that on the very high points of the cheekbone. I'm not going to take it too far down, and I'm really not going to blend it out too much. I'm going to keep it on the high points of the face, really accentuate and really draw attention to the cheekbones. Look how gorgeous that is, and look at that gorgeous, gorgeous glow. Now I always take what's left on my brush and just take it across the top of my nose. I also pop some slightly above the temple. Just helps to keep the look continuous throughout. Your blush placement is so important, but never more so than during your bridal makeup. So really do make sure you're being very precise and you really are keeping it on the high points of the face only. While skin is looking buttery and gorgeous in real life, in photos right now, it would look shiny. Next up, you're going to take your Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder. And I say your Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder because there is no other powder you should be using on your wedding day. You can buy a compact mini of this and keep it in your touch-up kit. It is the best powder. You're going to start to see here where the reflection has been very, very strong. As I start to mattify it down, you'll notice that the skin still looks beautiful and glowy, but it just won't look sweaty anymore. I am just going to pop a little bit of colour corrector under the eye. This is the Charlotte Tilbury colour corrector in shade medium. I'm going to pop a tiny little bit of that just into the darkest area of my eye, just to help cancel out any darkness. And then I'm taking the brush that I used earlier to apply concealer onto the eyelid. I'm just going to pat that lightly into the under eye as well. So my biggest tip with concealer is really not to overdo it. We don't need that much product under the eye to give that flawless, seamless finish. Keep it light, and it will really help to prevent creasing. Almost immediately after I've done the concealer, I like to go in and set under the eye. Now I'm using the same powder that I was using to set the rest of the face, and I never take it quite up to the very underneath of the eye, because that's where you'll find that you get the most creasing. But I just like to set in these areas, and it just helps to make everything look very seamless. Now I'm going back in with the same powder that I used as my eye transition colour earlier, and you'll start to notice that I repeat the same products all the time. It really helps to give that seamless look. Regularly applying the same shades and the same products, it really does help to give that consistent finish. It makes the makeup look really flawless and really seamless, but it also helps to keep things looking natural. So you want to apply those shades. I tend to mix them together, but you want to apply those shades into the areas that you applied your cream contour foundation mix earlier. At this point, you're keeping your brush nice and light. You really, really do want to just sort of move it over rather than really packing and pressing the product in. The contour in your nose, take it from your brow and lightly apply it down the outer edge of the nose. If you feel like it looks a bit dark, you can tap it out with a finger. This is truly one of those steps that you do not want to miss, especially for your photos. Now we're moving on to setting the blush, and this is the Sublime Flush Ambient Hourglass Powder. This product will be the best investment you make in your wedding day makeup, period. You really don't need a lot of this product to get the gorgeous effect of it. I've put such a small amount on, and I'm really applying that so lightly over the top of the cheekbone. Look how gorgeous that looks. It's so flawless and so effortless. Always take a little bit of that over the centre of the nose. So glowy and so buttery and so effortless and so bridal. Next up, I'm grabbing the same brush that I used earlier to apply the eyeshadow, and I'm just bringing that without putting any more product on it. Just bringing that under the lash line. This is the point where you want to check if you've got any sleep in your eye. Sometimes after applying makeup, we get a little bit of sleep in our eye. If you have got that, you need to make sure you remove it with a cotton bud. And that just really helps to make the eye pop. You can really see the difference between this eye and this eye right now. This eye is so accentuated and looks so beautiful. Just going to do the same on this eye. And if you struggle with this, then just look up and be really, really intentional with your placement. As I mentioned earlier, once you tightline the lash line, you'll often find that it does print onto the waterline. All you need to do is grab a cotton bud to clean that off. Then you want to take a nude liner. A kohl liner is great. The best one is this one. It's the Swede Beauty in shade Bright. And you just want to apply that into the waterline. I don't tend to bring that any further than the centre of my eye for two reasons. One, I feel like once it comes into the centre here, it starts to look really unnatural. And two, I feel like it really helps to give that elongated sort of doll-like eye shape that makes your eyes look big and beautiful. I'm just going to apply some mascara to my bottom lashes. My tip for this is apply mascara from the root down. Rather than catching the lash at the bottom, you want to really apply it as close to the waterline as possible and keep it there. You don't need to accentuate right to the bottom or else you start to get those sort of spider leg looking lashes. Now, once I've done all of this, before I do lips, I always take my phone and take a picture of the makeup look. I grab it, I get it on camera, I take a picture, and I feel like once I've got a photo, I can really, really see where I might need to make some changes, where I could improve on the look, and the things that I might need to do. I always find it's a lot easier to see if something's wrong in a photo than to see if it's wrong in real life. So I am using Iconic Nude by Charlotte Tilbury. This shade is the shade that Charlotte Tilbury has created that matches and suits everybody. This shade pairs so beautifully with so many lipsticks. If you're used to wearing lip liner and you're used to overlining your lip, then do so, but only keep it to the centre of the lip, and that will help it to keep looking super natural. If you're not used to that, then just keep to your normal lip line and use a flat brush like this to help blend it out. I mean, like every step, your lips are a step that are really worth taking their time on. Make sure you're really, really intentional about your application and blending that out. Now, when I'm doing bridal, I always blend the lip liner until it could almost be worn as just the lip liner. So I'll keep blending the lip liner until it looks so natural that you could just pop some lip gloss on and be on your way. So this is the shade Super Cindy from Charlotte Tilbury, and I absolutely love this. So if once you've applied your lipstick, you feel like you can't see the lip liner anymore and you want a little bit more definition, I would just take your lip liner and just blend that out again. Personally, for me, that really helps to give the extra definition, and I quite often do that on brides to help give that natural finish. I'm a gloss girl through and through. So for me, the last step is to take the Vive Lip Dew in shade Mirror and just apply that right in the centre of the lip. Look at the shine on that lip shade. It's so beautiful. Now, your final step today is to go in and set the makeup. So this is the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury. And I love this setting spray for really helping to melt the makeup together. I really just think it helps to make everything look so seamless and so flawless. I say that this helps to set the makeup for up to 16 hours. Now, I really do love this product. Generally use it on all my brides. But for setting your makeup, I recommend the L'Oreal Infallible Setting Spray. This is incredible. I didn't even believe in setting sprays until I started using this product. So I really, really recommend that you have this in your bridal makeup set. So that is the end of today's tutorial, and I really hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. For the next 6 weeks, I am going to be posting bridal makeup tutorials and giving you lots of different tips and handy tricks so that if you are thinking of doing your own bridal makeup next year, you can do it with ease. Now is the time that you need to start practicing. I cannot express that enough. If you want to do your own bridal makeup and you're getting married in 2026, you need to start practicing now. I improve as a makeup artist year on year, and you will improve your skills and your techniques and your ability the more you start to practice. So take this tutorial, give it a go, let me know how you get on in the comments. Please like and subscribe and follow along for more tutorials, and I will see you in the next video.